I did it. I got a tattoo of our logo. We are now enshrined on my body. Look at this, see?
Whoa. First, pull those back up. And second, why is the crack through my face?
We have ways of making it talk.
That's nasty.
The following podcast contains graphic descriptions of international celebrating and global merrymaking. It may not be suitable for angry or unhappy audience members. Listener discretion is advised. You've been warned.
Have you ever seen any of those foreign films? I don't like them.
Some are born great, others achieve greatness, and some watch Christmas movies.
We are the Wild and Crazy Guys.
Well, they're both festive, aren't they?
And we are the Festive Foreign Film Fans. Hey, welcome, Mark. It's season 2.
I am so excited. I can't believe we're kicking off season 2 with some great movies.
Mark, I'm looking at you. We look older. We look wiser. You know, our hair's grown out a little bit. We're cuter now. People know our personalities. They're really getting into the series. Because, Mark, I've been studying this. And season 2, you know, usually 1 is everyone's learning the characters and who and what they're like. And so now this is the time where we're going to shine, right? But, you know, you got to make some changes to keep it interesting. So, you know, I've studied this. Okay. And there are some standard updates that typically shows will get, you know, coming into their second season. And Mark, you are retired now, so you have a lot of time on your hands. So I'm expecting some great things this season from you.
I'm going to evolve.
You're going to come in costumes. You're going to come in with people, friends that you've met from foreign countries that you've convinced to join us.
I am now going to cook all the meals we highlight. I'm going to now bring them in for you and Jake to eat.
This is just starting off so well. So the first thing we need, though, is we got to have a catchphrase. You know, we need something that we can put on shirts and bumper stickers and tattoos. If we start saying it a few times and we drop it in and all that, and pretty soon, you know, the next thing you know, you're going to hear it when you're out at the store, or kids on TikTok are going to be saying it. So here's our 2 so far. I'm thinking we either got grow a festical or are you 4effing kidding me?
I think I can go with "Are you 4F kidding me?" I don't know if I can grow a T-shirt that says "Grow a Festival."
Come on, the Festive Foreign Film Fans say "Grow a Festival." Okay. So that's the first thing. So we need a catchphrase, one of us, and I'm just right away saying it's your catchphrase. So you have to find ways to insert it whenever we're talking. So that's a good thing. The other thing is, as you notice in a lot of these shows, is they figure out certain elements aren't working or whatever. So they usually will introduce a new character. So we need a new character. We need someone else to join us. We need, like, instead of 2 Festive Foreign Film Fans, a third. And I'm thinking, look, we've mentioned Jake a few times, and he's right out, you know, he's right in the next room here. And I think we start adding some drop in about his backstory. You know, we start talking more about him so he could become like our Kramer, our zany neighbor, or maybe, you know, like the sex crazed coworker, like in the office. So we're just referring, that's Jake. And he needs like a cool nickname. So I'm thinking either Shakin' Jake or You Don't Know Jake.
You don't know Jake. I think I like that one a little bit better than Shakin' Jake.
Yeah, exactly. So he's our zany, why doesn't he be our zany sex crazy neighbor? He can be all of those things.
So we have a phrase, we have sex crave Shakin' Jake, and You Don't Know Jake. What anything else we need?
Foreign Christmas jokes. You know, like things like, hey, how is the Italian version of Christmas different?
I don't know how.
one Mary, one Jesus, and 32 wise guys.
You know what? I like that. I'm excited. Season 2, I came in excited. Now I'm even more excited.
Yes. And I know some of this is just for fun, but we do want to mix it up for our season. One of the things we are changing, I thought we should change something. And in our episodes, we typically have done like kind of a question to discussion topic at the beginning and at the end. And this time, instead of a question at the end, why don't we ask kind of a trivia question about the area where we're at? So this way, if people know about it, they can tell us, they give us the right answer. But if they don't, they can do some research and learn about the places that we're describing. And if they send in the right answer,
what do we can get?
They're going to get a Festive Foreign Film Fan sticker. Or, as you know, our sponsors, they could get our sponsor stickers. So you can make a quest. Do you want a Regurgipet sticker? Do you want a Bun Stacker sticker? And these, we're going to start seeing these all over town. They will be the first ones on the block to have these stickers.
I think it's a great idea.
So we will be challenging each other as on these questions. So we're going to talk more as our season 2 unfolds. But first, we need to travel tonight. We're going to Eastern Europe, and we're going to the other side of, we already been to the Czech Republic. Now let's go to Slovakia. When they split up Czechoslovakia, it became the Czech Republic and Slovakia.
Wow.
And Mark, this is another complicated story. Not a traditional Christmas story. And, we've had a few of these of late. This one, we have some white nationalism. Yeah. We have refugees. And what is fascinating to me, not knowing the subject matter and watching this movie, as we'll discuss it, it's kind of ironic that here it takes place in this little country, thousands of miles from the U.S., but they're grappling with the same problems that we are grappling here in the U.S. And what I thought even makes it more ironic or maybe more significant is we are a Christmas podcast and we look at Christmas celebrations all over the world. Well, if you think about it, that Holy Family, after they had their baby and Herod was after them, they had to flee Bethlehem.
They did.
They left Bethlehem, they went to Egypt, and the people in this movie, they were crossing the border searching for a better life. Right. Here, the people coming into our country, they're looking for a better life here in the States. And it's tough because I know having a lot of people, especially coming in illegally crossing the border, it's a challenge.
It is.
And the Bible will tell us, hey, we don't mistreat or oppress a foreigner because all of us are one in Christ. And that's the way we should live. But how do we do that in today's fractured modern world where people are fearful of, them taking your jobs away from you or homeless living on the streets and that?
Yeah, you said a lot there.
Yeah. And it's trying because I want to go, how do we save, help people without hurting ourselves? And, and this is what what we see that drove the whole theme of this movie tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it because it's a phenomenal movie. Yeah. It's well done. In fact, I don't know if you saw this in your research, but this movie actually came close to being nominated for the best foreign film in 2019.
Oh, I did not know that.
So this is a quality film about a really tough subject that is very real for us today. And I just want to make one comment. I think the way people talk about immigration today has become just so harsh. Immigration I remember my parents talking about their grandparents and their parents immigrating and what they had to do to immigrate to the United States, and it was no different then.
Yeah, and and you're right. In some ways, this issue with the way people speak about refugees and immigration and how harsh they are, and I'm always amazed at how far away we've gotten from not only, like I mentioned, the Bible, but also foreigners tend to make fun of Americans because we like to claim our nationality, the countries where we're from. So, you'll say you're Irish or I guess Scottish now. And they the people who are in those countries laugh because they're like, no, you're American. But we take great pride in that. But in the fact that these people are coming here in the same way that our ancestors did to do the same things. And we want to treat them so miserably. And it's really tough. And what I loved about this film is it tried to give, cover it from all different aspects. But I will say, and we're going to start to talk about it, this was another one where I couldn't wait to sit down to talk to you about it because the ending caught me completely off guard, only because it's very unresolved. And I look to you for guidance on like the movies. Like I'm sitting there and there's the credits going and I'm like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, we should get into it because
yeah.
I am curious. I mean, sounds like having some people hate movies. That I'm married to a woman where if everything isn't fully resolved for her, she's like, I don't like that movie.
Yeah. Like, it's not the Hollywood ending. You got to wrap up every little bow.
Yeah. What happened?
Want to watch a Christmas movie? Christmas movies are our bread and butter.
We eat Chinese food and watch Christmas movies.
I heard it's the best Christmas movie since Home Alone.
The movie's title, I don't have it in Slovakia, but I do know in English it's called Let There Be Light. Mm-hmm. So let's see if that's the case, if they're light. So our actors, we have Milan Ondřich, which is really funny because he plays a character, Milan. So I was like, is he playing himself? So this is a first amongst actors. We've had actors who have been on MTV. We've had actors who have been producers and directors and writers and comedians. Well, guess what? Our Slovak actor tonight, he's also a very talented wood carver. Which is probably appropriate because he's playing a carpenter.
That's right.
So very good.
So he goes by the same name and he's a carpenter.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
His grandfather was an artist, so Milan devoted himself to carving. And when he wasn't carving, he studied at the Academy of Performing Arts in Bratislava, and became a very successful film and television actor. So he had to put that carving on hold because he was just doing so well in the acting part. But he has appeared in everything from Russian classics to world drama, but I couldn't find any of the English language films. Okay. And it's interesting when they talk about his range because what I found in the film is he tried to play a very simple character who's just trying to make his way in a very difficult situation. And then another actor here was his son. He's played by František Belis. He plays Adam. And you will find this with many of the actors tonight, some of the customs we talked about, and even the song. Very difficult to find any information about the. So there's not much information on them. He's known for this role, and then he's had some smaller bit parts in some other recent films. One is an English-speaking film from last year. He played with Jeremy Piven. It was called Performance. But the interesting thing, and he plays such a good role in a very tough role. He played the bellhop in the performances. So I don't know how much time he was on screen or whatever, but he was in an English language film. And then I feel like in some ways I'm giving short shrift to the wife, who's tremendous in this film, and the kids, they did a great job. But, there's certain actors we want to call out, and the third one is the priest. And he's played by Daniel Fisher. Very limited information on Daniel, although he's been in 17 films and television series, but all of them in Slovakia, nothing outside of Slovakia. So, Let There Be Light. The film starts, you see some workers working on a house, and this didn't come to me until the second viewing of it. But that house, if you look at it, it's a very nice house. Workers there, they're leaving. Boss invites one of the workers to his house. And again, this house, it's a very nice house, very modern. And the reason why I'm stressing that is when we go to Slovakia, where he's from, what we learn is he leaves Slovakia, he goes and lives in Germany and works in Germany because they pay better wages, sends the money home. And like in this film, he's only home for the 2 weeks for Christmas. That's right. So he's come home for Christmas. the area where he's from, and I don't know where it's supposed to be. I don't know how you saw it, but it seemed very sad.
Yeah.
You know, look, the inside, his outside of his house it almost looked like a warehouse. It didn't look, inside was nice though. It was very nice and warm, cozy. The father's house, his father's in the film, also very small. The houses they don't seem very well maintained. It's very rural, I guess.
Yeah, it's really a village. It's not a city, right? It is rural. It's all the houses are one on top of each other.
Yeah, on top of each other. And so I don't want to say it doesn't look run down or anything. It just looks a little sad. Yeah. And what struck me is watching it in Germany, it seemed very nice and big, beautiful homes. And here it was a lot less than that. So anyway, Milan comes home. He's come home for the holiday. And when he's home, you can sense, the tension and the stress is palpable.
Oh, absolutely.
He is caught off guard. He comes home for Christmas and brings gifts and all. Something is not right. His son, and he's a typical teenager. He seems withdrawn, but it seems even more than that. And the atmosphere in the town is kind of pressing, and the boy's hanging out with his friends all the time. And there's some couple of references made to the guard, which you don't know what that is, but they refer to him. He comes home. They go to mass. They had an interesting kind of ritual where the kids have to get down and kneel in front of the parents and ask for forgiveness before they go to mass, which I had never seen before that. He goes with his kids to church. At first, before you know it's his father, you see this guy giving him, an older man giving dagger looks to Milan. And then he's forcing his kids to go see their grandfather. They don't want to do it. They go after church, and you realize why they don't want to do it. He's terrible. He calls them good for nothings. Yeah. He treats his son as a good for nothing. He's not nice to his daughter-in-law. And an interesting thing also is, and this is so you realize, so this is an Eastern European country that used to be under the influence of the Soviet Union. Now that they're free, he says democracy is crap.
Exactly.
And, if you think about it, there are elements that I'm sure those countries that they were going through missed when, many ways the government did take care of them in certain ways and did provide things for them. And I think the transition, especially if there was corruption, and it has been difficult. So you could see where they go, this is not that great compared to what we used to have.
Clearly, the mom has a stressful relationship with Adam. Hanging out with these friends, right? So, actually, I think says to Milan, you need to do something about this. Yes. Milan doesn't do about what, right? And
he's like a typical boy.
Right? He's doing the things that I probably did. But in church, they seem like it seems like a nice community, right? Yeah. They're greeting one another. They're talking afterwards. The father you're going back to Milan's father, he does yell at him for smoking outside the church, right? Yeah. Really treating him like he's a teenager.
Very quickly, we learn that there has been a boy in the neighborhood who's committed suicide. And this is a boy that his son Adam knew. And you see some of them doing some of the holiday things. They're opening gifts. They go out on New Year's Eve and they shoot guns, and he lets the kids drink. Yes. And they're all, I think the other one's 11 and 8, and they're all drinking. And so they have another scene at church, and the priest starts to kind of say, essentially, the boy, blaming the boy for his suicide and getting away from church so much that the parents get up and leave.
So the boy, I think his name was Peter, dies of suicide. I think the police come and question.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
They question Adam, say, hey, what do you know about this? And of course, Adam's like, yeah, I don't know. And it's really weird early on. They ask Peter and sort of say, was he gay? And Peter's like, no, what are you talking about? You're not gay, right? And so that comes up a little bit later on in the movie, but there's sort of all of a sudden there's tension in the town. There's tension amongst Peter and his father and his mother. And then you're right, the priest is sort of suggesting that this horrible thing has happened, but it's happened because of the sinful life this person was leading.
Exactly. And that, yes, when the police show up, that's another time where the wife's like, look at this. Now the police are coming to our house. This is what's happening. And I think Milan's starting to realize he's losing the grip on his family and within his relationship with his son. So his son gets up to go with this guard out and they're going to, and he asks the priest, where are they going? And he says, we're going to go shovel snow to help people out. And he's like, I want to go with. And the priest says, fine, but I don't think anyone wants him, especially his son doesn't want him to go. But he gets some insight. First off, the priest starts telling him about Muslim refugees and how they're creating issues in the village and they really got to get rid of them and take it back. And he sees that the guard behaves kind of like a paramilitary unit with their calisthenics. And,
That's right.
And this is where the father's like, what the heck is going on, you know? And he also decides that he's going to go because he and his son knew the boy who died, that they're going to go to the funeral. And when they're there, the father and the mother of the boy who committed suicide confront him and say, how could you come here? You were there.
Yep.
And he learns that the boy was raped.
Right.
Automatically assume that's the reason for his committing suicide. So now there's the issue with the paramilitary group led by the priest. There's the fear in regards to the son or the boy who committed suicide. And clearly that the parents want the truth to come out. What happened to him?
Right.
They commit suicide and everyone is trying to keep it under wraps. And Milan wants his son to come forward and tell what happened.
Well, the parents are very upset. Obviously, besides he's died of suicide, but it's also the priest won't do a mass.
Right.
So there's a funeral, but there's not a funeral mass. There's not a Catholic burial because of his belief that it's against Catholic religion when a suicide occurs that there isn't a mass. Now, that's not the way things are in real life, or not certainly today in the U.S., but that's also sort of the double agony that the parents are facing.
Yep. And Milan, one thing we do see is he collects guns. He loves his guns, and he's shown quite a bit, almost caressing them and cleaning them. And it's an issue with him and his wife. But he goes, and it seems to me that when he's under stress, it's the thing he does. He goes and cleans his gun. And he goes to do that because of all that's going on, realizes one of his guns has been taken, confronts his son. They have a fight. He actually pistol whips his son. It was brutal. And his wife is upset. She's like, you're just like your father. He runs off. Then he confronts the commander of the unit, has a confrontation with him, goes back. His son now has gone to the priest, gone to the church, and is there. He wants to just go and see his son. His father's there. The grandfather is there, and they're kind of keeping him from seeing his son and kind of subtly threatening him.
There's a point in the movie. So when he is beating his son, that was such an uncomfortable part. Adam does then sort of fess up that, hey, Dad, right? Peter was sodomized. Yeah. Milan has insight to what's happened.
And he also knows his son witnessed it.
But he said, I had nothing to do with it. That's what he says at the time. But going back to when Milan goes to the priest, the woman who's playing Mummy, like when Milan walks in, did you see the smirk on her face?
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
Literally, I want to...
And what was amazing about it is you hadn't seen this character before.
No.
She doesn't say a word.
Yep.
And what she's able to convey just in her looks, and you love it at one point, he says, your son's a mama's boy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Milan, yes, exactly. But anyway, go back to your story. Yeah.
He gets to see Adam. Adam won't talk to him. And then he had seen the guards doing push-ups, and he challenges his son to a push-up contest and says, if I win, you'll listen to me. If you win, I'll listen to you. Well, it ends up, that's what breaks it down. They both do it. They collapse on the floor, and he says, we tied. So the walls between them are starting to come down. They go home, and their house has been ransacked and vandalized in a terrible way. And when they had been at church, people wouldn't give them the sign of peace. Right. So the community is turning against them, and they're eating rockets thrown through the window. Things are getting really bad. And when they're hiding, and he has a heart-to-heart, and Adam tells him, and this I think also goes back to why he took the gun. He said, hey, it happened to me too.
Right.
They did the same thing to him.
Right. And Adam had said too early on, or after they do the push-up thing, I think Adam says, Dad, don't go back to Germany. We need you here. I need you here. I'm worried about not only himself, but his younger brother.
Yes, which we see they're trying to recruit.
And his younger brother was treating their sister like a dog and making him do dog tricks, right? So they're indoctrinating him. So I think that breakthrough moment is, right, it's Adam saying like, I need you, Dad, right? We need you here to protect the family.
It was heartbreaking, and you just realize he's been through this as well. So because things have got so dangerous at home, they go to stay with the grandfather, which you've seen he's had a terrible relationship the whole time, but his father says to him, son, I'm proud of you.
That's right.
Proud of him for standing up. I think the rest of the community is acting in fear of the guard and the priest leading the guard. And so they're letting things just happen that they normally wouldn't support. And it's interesting. His dad said his father told him, whoever has a clear conscience cannot be hurt even by thunder.
That's right.
And it just resonates. And so they go to the police, and he's going to tell the police what happened. And even while he's there, police officers going through and telling him, stating the laws in regards to if you commit perjury, if you lie. It's so heavy-handed that he's basically saying, don't say anything because we're going to say you lied. And then someone calls the police out, and he goes out, and Milan grabs his hand under the table. He's holding his son's hand.
And right at the end, do you remember who sticks his head in the door? It's the commander of the guard, who is a police officer.
Is that who that was?
Yes.
I didn't recognize him.
This guy had the birthmark on his...
Gosh.
And I
did not know that.
They muster their courage to go. They're doing the right thing. I noted that conscious comment too. I thought that was a very impactful line in the movie. So at the very end, they come in to get the one police investigator, and it's the guard commander in a police uniform who sort of looks in on them, and it's unresolved. Like, so what happens? I
know, and that's where have been through it twice, and it just hits me every time. And I love the fact that the father finally says, "Son, I'm more impressed with you than," he's actually supporting the priest. He's not doing anything to stop what's going on. I think he's really impressed that his son is. But they were kicked out of their house. His son might be sent into prison.
Some people don't like those unresolved things. And I think it's a very interesting name, because really the movie to me was about the relationship of Adam and Milan and the mother, right? I mean, the mother doesn't want him to move or doesn't want him to go back to Germany, but he's going to go back. And it's really Adam who convinces him to stay there and be part of the family, so I think there's a lot of things resolved in the movie, but it's not the final. We want to know. Oh, absolutely.
I want to know that he was successful. He testifies against him, and they're all prosecuted. And nope.
And they all turn on the main guys. Yeah.
To your point, there are so many elements about this film that I just make an impact, that I loved, that were really good. But is it a festive film?
I was hoping you would answer first. It's a tough one because it has some of the elements, right? It is around Christmas and that Christmas time spirit and things, right? Is that part of it? But I'm going to go that it's not a Christmas movie, because even without the Christmas theme or where it's mentioned, this is still an impactful movie. And so I don't think Christmas makes the movie.
Yeah. And this is one, like, normally I would lean towards yes, but I don't know. There are strong elements of Christmas that you see. He's home for Christmas. There's the tree. I love his present. He wears tank slippers.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about those.
And he got another set of tank slippers. Very cute. Some Christmas things, which are important in the film, but overall, and normally some of the films that we've said, there wasn't a lot of Christmas, but it inspired such Christmas feelings that I labeled a Christmas film. I don't want to disparage this film at all, but I won't say it's going to foster these great Christmassy feelings in it. It's not. You're going to feel strongly about the film, and it's going to have an emotional impact, but it's not necessarily I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy.
No, I mean, we talked about it. I was stressed.
Yeah.
I know. I mean, you're going to another F about how he felt, but that was a very stressful movie to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of those ones where you love the acting, because right away at home, you can tell something's wrong. Mm-hmm. There is tension in the air. I mean, they're talking to each other. They're behaving like a regular family, but you just know something is rotting here. And I love that when it can be conveyed without overacting or over dramatizing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, certainly there's actually so much tension between Milan and his wife and the father. So Milan's father, there's so much tension that actually there's a point of feeling he's impotent.
Yes. Yeah.
He can't make love to his wife because he's got all these things and second guessing. And, she feels like she has nothing. He has all his guns. There's multiple friction points in this movie that make it a really fascinating film.
But some of those, just talking about them in bed, some of those scenes where they're just having those conversations seem very true, and they were wonderful. Just seeing them face to face, kind of talking to each other, and in a way I think that they had, because he's always away, and so those were great. Now, okay, so would you watch it again?
I would. I think it's a phenomenal film, so I think I would watch it again. Am I gonna seek it out to watch it right away? No, but if I had the occasion to watch it again, I would.
Yeah. And in fact, I enjoyed it the second time almost equally as much. And that doesn't happen. I really did. And look at that. I watched it twice and didn't even realize it was the commander. That's significant. I knew that was a problem, but I didn't know it was the commanders. And then would you recommend it to someone?
I would. In fact, I already sort of shared it with a few people who, in a circle of friends and family, told Eric about it and said, gosh, this is a kind of movie that if properly disclosed could generate conversations. So many conversations to have, right? Like to your point, some things about immigration, gang, they go after the vulnerable. People who get taken advantage of. Adam and his brother were vulnerable because their dad's not there, right? They want to be sort of seen as part of a broader group and stuff. And so, there's so many, I think, conversations you can have. So I would watch it again and I would recommend it to somebody.
And, and I think what's also telling for me is that I couldn't wait to get here to talk to you about it. And I think that says something when I really want to sit down and talk to you about the movie. The other thing I really enjoyed, and this doesn't happen in all of the films, even though that's what we strive with this podcast, I really got a sense of Slovakia, which I knew nothing about. But didn't you kind of get a feel of what it's like to live there?
I think, yes, is a short answer. I mean, I found myself, because, Slovakia was formed right with the split of some countries and just that region and the things the history that I know of it just seems like it's a tough place to live.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I felt a longing to want to go there.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
It does. It totally does. I felt the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. It was like, gosh, not to go there to judge, but go there to understand and to immerse a little bit into their community.
Well, and like you kind of said, that it's maybe not the way it is here in the States, but the church was very important. And like you said, everybody turned out, everybody knew each other, and they were there. They were at Mass, and the Mass was full. And so the church was very important in the community. Well, so Mark, I'm going to teach you how to say Merry Christmas in Slovak.
I'm ready.
But here's the great thing. We should already know this because it's similar to what we learned when we did the Czech Republic. I know I'm going back quite a bit to season 1, but all that's changed here, Mark, is they added an extra I. So, and they say Happy Christmas, and it comes out, it's Vesele Venoce. And I don't, does that, remember? I kind of do remember. Vesele Venoce.
Vesele Venoce.
Yeah. So very much what we learned in Czech, extra I. So we're going to talk about some of the customs, and you'll see these harken back to some of the things that we've heard of before as well. The first, it's the traditional Slovak cabbage soup for Christmas. They call this kapucnika. It's hearty, flavorful, and served on Christmas Eve. It often includes smoked sausages and ham, onions, sauerkraut, mushrooms, sour cream, hot paprika, and garlic. And Mark, guess what? Occasionally, they'll even put in some dried prunes. Now, that is a rich, colorful soup. They say it has a distinctive flavor. Now, some won't put in the meat, the sausage or the ham, because, there is a tradition of fasting, not eating meat before Christmas dinner. The Christmas kapucnika, it's different than the normal. There's normal kapucnika, which is the cabbage one. This is a white kapucnika, so that's why they have the cream, the sour cream, and they have cream in it. So it's white, and also they want it to be sweet and sour. So the fermented cabbage, that provides, I think, the sour, and then they'll toss in a tablespoon of sugar to make it sweet and sour.
So I'm excited to know that in season 2, we're still talking about food.
Yes.
Because I love food.
And this one, didn't it? When you recite those ingredients, it sounds really good.
I love it. I mean, cabbage is part of, the Irish when we have in St. Patrick's Day. So I love boiled, cooked cabbage.
Yeah.
But without the meat, though, I think I would struggle.
Yeah, without the meat, and I don't know about the prunes. I loved everything, and then we got the prunes. I'm like, occasionally I go, I don't know if I want them, but you can have them if you choose.
Okay.
So this is the one I think I was kind of referring to when we've heard before. So in Slovakia, since it's the tradition not to eat meat, they'll typically serve fish, and traditionally it's carp, just like we heard in the Czech Republic. So the carp in Slovakia for Christmas, it's kind of like we have Thanksgiving or turkey for Thanksgiving. It's the tradition in the same way that it's a tradition to eat turkey in the U.S., but we know that there are families that don't now, that they choose to have beef or something else. And that's true. There are better tasting fish, but carp is the one that has the tradition that people always remember. What they say now is that, well, it's not that tasty and it has these big bones, but many people will eat it because it's traditional. It stems from the 13th century. Since Christmas Eve is the last day of the Advent fast, the tradition goes the carp must first swim in the family bathtub for at least a day or two before being killed, cleaned, and prepared. And the idea is, and this is true, they say bathtub now, but even before then, it was just in a tub of water that they would have. And the idea is a few days swimming in clean water flushes out the mud from it. You kill the fish, so you'd have it fresh. You bring it home, have it swim around, kill it, then you soak it in milk and sometimes salt to dull or lessen that fishy taste and to sweeten the meat. And then it's breaded and fried.
Isn't that interesting to clean them out?
Yes.
Yeah, because carp are a bottom feeding fish.
Yeah. And I think it reflects a time when people had difficult times. Yeah. Carp was probably the easiest and the cheapest thing to get.
It's probably plentiful.
Yeah. So there are times now that they could probably have better fish, but they're like, oh, no, we'll go with the carp.
And it's tradition.
Then also, and these are kind of fun, they also have some traditions, some superstitions really that Slovakia has. So you cut an apple in half, and based on the shape of the seeds that form, you can tell what the next year will be like. So if you see a star of 5 seeds, that means a good year. If you see a cross of 4 seeds, that means a death in the family or poor harvest.
Oh.
So that, and I believe it when you're cutting in half.
Right.
Yeah. Again, during dinner, superstition, no one can leave the table, because if someone leaves the table, it is believed that the same person will leave that family that year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so no going to the bathroom, nothing. You got to sit there because you don't want to be the one who's...
Okay. I guess I'd rather have an accident than die. So, okay. I'm staying there. I'm cutting my apple in half.
Pass me that fermented cabbage. I'm not leaving. Again, we set an extra plate for a deceased family member. And then the other thing is money is put under each plate, and a scale from the carp at dinner is put in your wallet. And these are, again, to bring financial luck and wealth to you.
I love those.
I know. They're really good. Except I don't like the one about the death, too.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but it's interesting, though, right? I like those. This is an early favorite one for season 2 best ofs.
Yes, exactly. And I like the soup too. I'm putting that one on the list too. So now we've heard the superstitions, we've heard the customs. Let's hear some Slovakian music.
I'm ready.
You ready?
This calls for some Christmas music.
Yes, this Christmas music.
What kind of Christmas music is that?
The least you could do is play some Christmas music.
Now back to Christmas music.
No vážne, čakám toho neurekom. Komplet, celé testo pod stromčekom. Ježiško, ukáž, ako moc ma máš rád. Vážne, chcem toho veľa, veľa. Ty Tomku, aj Barbie od Matela. Nechcem jak socka s knižkou v ponožkách stáť.
So that's a Christmas headbanger. What do you think about that?
What a fun song.
It is. And Mark, it's so interesting. And this is why I think Slovakia is the mystery of it makes it so appealing because, like I said, it is hard to find anything about this country or get detail about it. So actually even finding a Christmas song was really difficult. In this one, you could barely find any information about other than the song. I mean, it will not be added to our Spotify list because it's not on Spotify, but it is on YouTube. That there's no name. I mean, well, there is a name, but it's like 4 different names.
Right.
I've seen it referred to as Venocha, which is Christmas, Venocha Prieni, which is Christmas wish, Venocha, which is Christmas, Venocha Prieni, which is Christmas wish, and Jesus prosem viocha meja zeleni, which is Jesus, please hear my wish.
Right.
Or it's even been referred to as the modern Christmas song. The song is a collaboration with the lead singer from one Slovak punk band called Bijou Terrier with Zita Rajandu. And that's with another Slovak band called the Bora Group. So we have Bijou Terrier and Bora Group coming together for this song. In the song, the female singer is asking baby Jesus to show how much he loves her by leaving as many gifts as possible and putting them under her Christmas tree. And again, I think this is a kind of a jab at commercialism. It's like, hey, baby Jesus, if you really love me, bring everything I want.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was a nice fast-paced song, but I didn't realize it had 4 different names.
I could see why you were dancing around the room. It was awesome. With your hands over your head. So, Mark, here we go.
I'm ready.
First of our trivia. This is our new section. Yay! So, for our first trivia question on Slovakia, and this is always interesting to try to figure out which one to ask. So I was going to ask you about the time that the Slovakian women's hockey team qualified for the 2010 Olympics by beating Bulgaria 82-0. So think about that. That's a hockey game. They made 139 shots on goal and scored an average of 1 goal every 44 seconds. Thought about that one, but no, we didn't go. And then how about in Slovakia? They have the longest European alphabet. They have 46 letters. Thought about that.
That's a good one, though.
Or that the word slave is actually derived from Slav, since many Slavs were enslaved in the Middle Ages. Or, I bet you didn't know this, Slovakia is the world's largest producer of cars per capita in the world. So,
interesting.
Lots of little tidbits there to ask you, but instead, this is the one I want to know. When Czechoslovakia was split into 2 countries, being the Czech Republic and Slovakia, this occurred in 1993. What happened to their Czechoslovakian national anthem?
Wow.
If you know, you send in your answer by our next episode, and you might get your own Bun Stacker sticker.
That is a great question. Those are some very interesting stats. I like what we're doing so far here in season 2.
Yeah. And I'm actually going to ask our sponsors, maybe we can get some products and we can actually send out some Bun Stacker. And finally, Mark, to wrap this all up, because this has really been, it was a great movie, fun customs, really a head-banging song. So, and now our quote. I needed the reminder that I'm still alive and the world still contains magic and wonder, like Christmas trees and kisses from beautiful women. And that's from Ray Antine. So if you listen to us, please spread the word, especially to your friends and families and those outside the U.S. We'd like to get more of those international festive fans. You can help us, leave us a review, tell us about your customs, answer our trivia questions. You can send it all to thefestivefans@gmail.com. Check out our Facebook page. Go look at us on Instagram or on X. We're there everywhere.
It was a great show, Bob.
Thank you, Mark.
And we'll talk in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we'll meet in Slovakia.
I'm there.
Actually, we're done. Done.
It's over. It's over.
It's over, kaput, finito.
It's over. It's over. It's over.
This has been a Waysound Studio production.
And sound engineering on our show is by Jake Fontana.